now 1 week post Valencia Half. I have just finished my last run of the week. It was a speed session and it was also my first run back in Shrewsbury. We were gone for quite a few weeks. I just about remembered my way around. I nearly took a wrong turn to get to the river. I'm not even joking. Right, we have quite a few things to catch up on. It's going to be a chatty one, starting with how things have been since the race. I want to do a bit of a training block review, knowing what I know now, that I was in fact in sub 86 shape, not sub 88. So what my big dream is now for the half marathon distance, dare I call it a goal, and my next A race. Let's start with this week. So my legs came around okay after the race, and I did manage to have a decent week of running, not a big one because you've got to respect the recovery, and also we had some travel issues trying to get back from Valencia that really disrupted our schedule. We were effectively stranded there because of the catastrophic floods that happened in the area. The city center of Valencia itself wasn't too bad, but you've seen on the news the little towns around in the province, I mean, it was a complete disaster for them, and we were lucky that the only issue we had was that our flight Tuesday night was cancelled. Then the next flight going to Manchester with available seats was only yesterday, so we ended up extending our stay. So running wise, Monday, the day after the race, I just did an easy 6k, just shaking off the legs. Tuesday was a rest day. Wednesday in the afternoon, another easy 6k after not sleeping at all the night before. Thursday, I did manage a bit of a speed session. I had 5 times 3 minutes, slightly faster than 10k pace. My reps were between 3:45 and 3:50 minutes per k. Friday, easy 10k. Yesterday morning, just before heading to the airport, 8.6k, easy pace. And this morning, I had another speed session. So that was warm up, 2 kilometers at tempo pace, 3 minutes easy, on to 5 times 1 minute at around 10k effort with 1 minute recovery between those reps, 3 minutes easy, and then 2k tempo, and then cool down, and that was 14.7k. I am finishing the week on literally just shy of 57k. Can you imagine? Right, so if we rewind back to last weekend, I ran 85:41 at Valencia Half. I don't want to be like, oh, this is how I run an 85-minute half marathon, like it was the plan all along, because it definitely wasn't. In my head, the best case scenario would be 86:50 something. But Ben was maybe a bit more optimistic than me, and as my coach, I thought he would be the best person to do a final wrap-up of this 10-week training block and maybe give some thoughts on what led to this 2.5 minute PB. So what would you say were the key elements in this training block that drove the progress?
Not just the training block, but if you look at last year, consistency's been quite good all the way through, which meant we're able to layer on the durations. So I'm able to add about, I think, generally speaking, probably 10% onto duration, block on block, in terms of time. Intensity, so increase the intensity. The sessions were a little bit harder this time versus last time. The average paces were a little bit higher, but at the same time, the easy ones stayed around the same. In those blocks, like progressive long runs, I think were quite helpful. So there was a few kind of like 22k progressive long runs.
I feel like this time around, like the long run workouts were quite like chunky in terms of effort. It was at least half of the long run was at some sort of effort.
We also had a little bit more undulation this time. Yeah. Just because we're in Shrewsbury.
Because we moved to Shrewsbury.
So probably helps. Versus like laps of Victoria Park, which were flat.
Yeah.
Or the canal. Feeling's better, so 2 gels this time versus 1 gel last time. You trained a bit more with gels and shoes.
I really made a point to and obviously I didn't get injured, so that also helps. I don't seem to be prone to injuries, and hopefully this carries on, but I also do my very best not to get injured. Like I do everything I can, the strength training, the stretching, the sports massage, like, you know, I try everything not to be injured, because consistency, I know full well, is really what drives most of my progress. So if you are looking for, you know, a miracle solution, get fast quick, this is not here. We just, you know, do the basics that work. One more thing that we didn't touch on is doing a 10k race 2 weeks before the half marathon seems to be working quite well for me. We've done that for a few training blocks now, and it does seem to give me a little bit of a fitness boost. And ultimately, I knew that Valencia Half was the most important race of the year for me. So for 10 weeks, I really applied myself, and I'm so happy that it paid off big time on race day. The good thing about documenting my running journey on YouTube is that I have video proof that it always seems impossible until it's done. I run times that I never thought I could run, which led me to set new goals that seemed a bit crazy to me, a bit unachievable, but I got there eventually. Like for instance, when I ran my first ever half marathon in 2021, I did 1:41, and yes, of course I was always going to improve because at that time I hadn't done a whole lot of running, so there was room for improvement, but at that time I never thought I would ever run a sub 90 minutes half marathon. And well, last year I did eventually run my first sub 90, and I have similar examples with the 10k and the 5k distance, and it's all on video, on record. And with the 1:25 half marathon, I never thought I would run this time this year. In fact, I thought this time would be probably my limit, that I would get there in 2 to 3 years, and that would be it. But I did run a 1:25 this year, and I don't think it's my limit anymore. Of course, I will not improve forever. One day, my fastest times will be behind me, but until then, I really want to see how much faster I can get. And so it is time to dream a little bigger for the half marathon. What time can I get? And I kind of had in the back of my mind that it would be pretty crazy if I could get my time down to 81 minutes, because that would be 20 minutes faster than my very first half marathon in 2021. Not so long ago, it seemed absolutely out of this world, but now I'm like, maybe I can if I keep chipping away, or at least I'm going to try my very best to get as close as possible to 81 minutes. So I will not get there next year, but it's kind of like the dream that I'm going to break down in milestones, in more achievable goals, you know, in the next few years. And I'm really excited to see if I get there, and if I don't get there, how close can I get to 81 minutes. But I'm not going to roll on to another half marathon training block straight away. I don't think I'm going to race a half marathon until spring next year. So I'm going to chill a bit for now. I do have a few more weeks of running without training for anything in particular. I have one last race that is scheduled for this year. It's a 10k, it's not an A race, I'm just doing it for a bit of fun. You'll hear about it very soon because it is coming up in the very near future. And once I've done this race, then I will start training for my next A race, which will be the Valencia 10k, taking place in January. It's going to be an 8-week training block starting mid-November, and I'm really excited already. But I think that's all for now, guys. You're all caught up on everything. I covered all the updates. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video, which may be a race vlog. Bye!